What's up everybody, Subaru WRX fan here for another car review. This is of course the 2012 Subaru WRX STI Limited. Many thanks to South Park Mitsubishi for hooking me up with this car to review for you guys today. So, I did a 2006 STI, I did a 2004 STI, now the 2012, the newest version of the STI that's out. So this car was a completely new car. It was a whole new chassis. I mean, the engine was basically unchanged, transmission was pretty similar, same thing, but this body was bigger, it's larger, heavier, and it's a whole different car. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this compares to the previous generation STI. And I find it interesting as well that the person that owned this car traded it in for a new Evo 10. So we'll see. Do you think he made the right decision, or do you think that this is the better choice? Hopefully I'll get a chance to review an Evo 10 here in the near future. But in the meantime, let's talk about this car. So, especially in this white color, I think it looks fantastic. They did a great job on the styling. One of my favorite things about these newest generation STIs was these huge bulging fenders they put on the front and the back. Really gives it a cool look. You know, it kind of gives a little bit more width and a little more of an aggressive stance than the older versions had. They toned down on the hood scoop though. You know, this hood scoop is actually larger and pulls in more air, but instead of it being just tacked on top of the hood, this one's actually integrated into the hood here. A much more cleaner and conservative design while still being even more effective. Love the headlights up here, the whole front bumper. You know, they kind of toned down on all the STI badges that the 06 had and just instead put fog lights down here. You have the one STI badge there on the grille, which is nice. And otherwise, it's really nice. You have the blacked out Subaru wings there, and the grille and the eyelids here on the headlights look really nice. You have these air ducts and everything in the front bumper. I love the way these look. They look spectacular. They added a few other little upmarket features with these as well, such as the turn signals integrated into the side mirrors, and you have the little fender garnishes and things like that. Just a really nice package. I really love the way these look. I mean, the back end, you still have the famous rear wing. They restyled it so it's not just a flat park bench like it was before, and this time it has some curvature to it and some angles. Looks really good though. Back end of this car looks really clean. I like how they went to the quad exhaust tips. That looks great as well. And yeah, I love the way these look. Right, so for the interior of this car, the first thing is whenever you're getting in this, the door feels kind of stiff and not very high quality. But once you close the door, it has a nice solid thunk and feels solid. Sitting in this car, very, very comfortable. This is the limited model, you know, so this one has the leather seats, and it has the moon roof, you know, so it has some nice features to it. But these seats, while I'm talking about them, are not very good. They're not very supportive. I just wiggle all over the place in them. Thigh support is awful. I feel like I'm just sitting in any other normal sedan seats. These are not sporty seats whatsoever, which is really disappointing for a car like an STI. One thing that's really great about this car though is the steering wheel. Really nice 9/3 grip. Gauges in this car as well are very nice. You know, traditional STI style, you know, red lighting to them, which is really nice to have. And this has a little new display for the Sni Drive system as well, which I'll talk about more later. Coming over to the radio here, very cheap feeling. I'm not impressed with this radio at all. I listened to the radio for a while already. Sound quality is decent, but like my BRZ, you have to turn the volume up to like 30 for it to even be like something you can hear. Not sure why it's so underpowered, but that's the way it is. Another thing is the radio is a little high up. They decided to put the radio above the air vents, which was an interesting design choice, and so it feels a little high, but I mean, I'm nitpicking there on that. Then you come down to your air controls down here, and believe it or not, these knobs feel cheaper than the ones on the 2006. So not sure how they went backwards over 6 years time, but that's the case here. They have nice little knob here for the SI drive though. That feels high quality. The diff control here feels nice and high quality, but that's about the end of the high quality stuff. You can tell this is all hard plastic. Dash is hard. Every single piece of plastic in this car is rock solid, and that really detracts from the quality of this car, especially being a limited model, you know, that's close to almost $40,000. You don't have navigation, you have hard plastic in here. That's really a disappointment. I mean, you have a nice leather armrest here, you have a nice leather elbow pad here on the door. Those are nice. Like I said, the leather seats are nice and comfy and stuff, but the rest of this interior is just not worth the price tag, I don't think. I realize this is just a hopped up Impreza, but still, I wish they would have at least put a little bit more quality into the interior on this car. One nice thing that they did improve with these, newer STIs here is you have a lot more storage space. You have a nice big cubby down here underneath the air controls. You have your 2 cup holders. You have this center console here that has your USB and auxiliary jacks in it and is a pretty decent size. You have door pockets that now could fit a bottle and a reasonable amount of things in there. So that's nice to have, the more storage space. But aside from that, this interior is kind of a disappointment. I mean, like I said, it's more comfortable, it's more roomy, you have the moonroof and stuff. I mean, it's nicer to ride in, but whenever you're examining the quality of things, not worthy of the price tag, even with the awesome performance of these cars. So yeah, just mixed feelings about this interior. As far as backseat space goes, obviously being a larger car, you're gonna have more space back there. And it's plenty of space that no one should really complain unless you're talking about, 6.5 feet tall people. The trunk in this car is also quite large. You can fit plenty of things in there. No complaints there either. So yeah, let's take this car for a drive and see how it does. So the first thing about this car is the only modification this one has is an SPT exhaust, which is available through the dealership, and so that's the Subaru Performance exhaust system. And as you'll be able to hear, it has a nice little sound to it. They say it might add a few horsepower, but nothing significant. All right, so setting off in the STI here. All right, so I'm on this bumpy park road here. And this really shows just how much they improved the ride on this car over the older versions. Much smoother, it soaks up bumps a lot better. But whenever we're out on the road, you'll see it doesn't really wobble around anymore. It's still a very sharp feeling car, but it's just so much more comfortable on these bumps, and it feels so much more refined than the 2006 did. This is just a very nice, comfortable riding car. Another thing is, of course, visibility is great in this car, just because it's a 4-door car. First off, you have no blind spots over your shoulder, but also, just the glass is very large. This windshield is huge. You just have lots and lots of visibility. Subarus are always built for safety, and this one, you can tell that was definitely on their mind with this. Great visibility in this car. All right, so let's take it on this back road here and see how it does. So this is a fast car. To me, it doesn't feel quite as raw as the 2006 STI. I'd say this is maybe 80-85% of the experience you get in the 2006 STI. So it's a little bit muted in comparison, because this is a more comfortable car and more refined, so it transmits less of that violence to you than it did last time. But it's still very, very thrilling. This car, though, I think it does feel a little bit heavier just in your acceleration, because I feel like I have less low-end torque in this car than I do in a 2006 STI. But it still has great pickup, of course. We're dealing with 305 horsepower in this car, and it's definitely fast. I mean, there's no complaints about that whatsoever. I mean, obviously you could tune it if it wasn't fast enough for you, but this thing gets up and goes just fine. So yeah, on these back roads here, though, like I said earlier, this is just a really sharp handling car. It feels really flat. Here's a nice sharp corner here. It's nice. The only thing, though, that's not so nice is the steering is too light. It's just too light, simply. There's nothing. And like, I can put it in this sport sharp mode, which is supposed to sharpen up the throttle response, and but it doesn't really do anything to the steering. So steering is still light no matter what. Coming up to this really tight corner here, though, I'll show you, the body roll or lack thereof, and average speed going around. It does roll, but it's pretty flat and controlled. It still inspires confidence. Obviously, you can upgrade the suspension with anti-sway bars, and that would take care of that right away. Coming up to another stop sign here, and let's see about that acceleration again. Quick. It actually got the traction control to come on too. It's definitely fast. Like I said, with these motors, you have to wind them out. There's really no power in this one until about $4,000, and after 4,000 RPMs, it really does come on pretty strong. Like I said, it's not quite as dramatic as the 2006, though. I'm kind of missing that. I'm missing that extra little bit of drama that car had. It just doesn't give you that full experience, but it still is very fun. This is a more mature STI. It's more grown up. It's not quite as crazy and wild, but it's still the same kind of car. It's still got those roots. It's still got that same crazy engine, but it's just in a little bit more of a conservative package with more comfortable seats, comfortable ride. This is just a grown-up STI. If you want the crazy wild ones, stick with the older ones. This is definitely a more refined car. But I like that. I mean, I can appreciate that. To me, I like the 2006 better so far. I'm going to drive this car around though for a while though. I want to give it a good, fair assessment. So I'm going to drive it here for the next few hours. Driving this car for a while now, and updated impressions. Well, the first thing is, I didn't mention yet, the transmission in this car is very, very similar to the 2006. This one isn't quite as clicky when it gets into gear, but it still is a very, very nice feeling shifter. Love these 6 speeds. And the clutch pedal is also very nice. It's not too heavy, it's not too light, it's just right. And the brake pedal though, doesn't have as much feel as the 2006 did. I don't know, it just very numb feeling actually, the brake. It's just, you hit it and it does brake, and it's good brakes, but the feel just isn't that great. Another thing is this SI Drive is a new feature they added in 2008 for this car, and it has 3 modes. It has Sport, which is the default, it has Intelligent, and then it has Sport Sharp. And basically all that changes is the throttle mapping as far as throttle response is concerned, and so it just kind of gives you a little bit of a sharper throttle response, and that's about it. It's so slight though that I normally just forget to even put it in Sport Sharp. I just leave it in Sport, and that's fine the way it is. Also, this SPT exhaust is actually really nice. I like the way it sounds. It's a little on the bassy side, and it doesn't always sound great, but most of the time though, I really love listening to it. It's not too loud, it's just very nice. The way it should have came from the factory, because these cars are miserable from the factory with the super silent stock exhaust. So this is a really nice feature that you can just get this at the dealership. It's covered under warranty and everything's good. So I really like that exhaust system. But yeah, otherwise, you know, I haven't really had any big revelations since I've been driving it for a while here. It's definitely a lot of fun. I might have been a little too hard on it, you know, earlier on. This is a really fun car. I mean, it's still an STI, so it's 305 horsepower, you know, 300 foot-pounds of torque, and it's just tons and tons of power. It's lots of fun. It's really enjoyable to just, you know, get into that turbo and just really wind it out. I wish there was a little bit more torque down low, you know, with this one. I think if you were to reflash into a Cobb tune or something like that, you would probably get a little bit more low-end torque there, and things like that would really help. But I mean, as this car is, you know, it's very nice. I can respect that they wanted to make this car a little more mature in 2012 here, and you know, this is definitely a nice car. I love this car actually. I would be totally happy driving this around every day, no problem. After driving the 2006 and after driving my BRZ and stuff, I think this car is a little overpriced. This will be spectacular in a few years when these come down in prices, but as it sits right now, me personally, I would rather just have a 2006 for a cheaper price. One last little acceleration because this car is just too much fun. Yeah, I even got my sister giggling over here. So yeah, it's definitely a ton of fun. Love the power in these cars. It definitely is a lot of fun. I love this car. Many thanks to South Park Mitsubishi for hooking me up with this car to review for you guys today. This car is available on their lot if you're interested in it. It has about 25,500 miles on it, and it's a nice car though. I really like this one for sure, and especially with this white paint and stuff. So yeah, if you are interested in this car, send me a message either on the Subaru WRX Fan Facebook page or just through YouTube, you know, inbox, you know, through the messages. Send me a message and I'll put you in contact with the owner himself, who can hook you up with a special deal because you watched my video and found out about it that way. So let me know what you think about this car. Would you rather have this one or the 2006 that I reviewed last week? So yeah guys, that's it. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.